Good morning to the Tamkin community and to everyone else watching us. We would love to welcome you to such a wonderful and first of its kind AI in the healthcare. This is going to be presented by Mr. Adarsh, and today we're going to answer one of the most pressing questions, that is, how does AI help us lengthen our lives, and how does AI help us in the health system? Because that is, for me and for everyone else that's watching, one of the most important systems in which AI can be helpful. Now, Mr. Adash is going to help us with understanding what are the problems that we face in developing these systems and many other questions that you might have. So like I usually say, learn actively, that is, take notes and be attentive. And in the end, we'll have a question session where people will be allowed to ask questions. So with this, I'll hand it over to Mr. Adash.
Thank you. And just to confirm, my voice is all clear. There's no lag, or you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you for the invitation, and thank you for inviting me to the stage and then to let me talk about this very important topic, which is AI in healthcare. And I will go through the slides, and then we will see how this and how AI and the new wave of AI, which we are looking at, is changing the healthcare. Very quickly, my name is Adarsh. All of you know, I'm based out of Pune, India, and I'm head of IVT Data Insights, Data Analytics and Research in a company called Roche. It's a Swiss-based company. But just a quick disclaimer: whatever I'm going to talk about today is my own opinion and has nothing to do with the company which I'm part of. And I have 15 plus years of expertise in driving the innovative solution. I worked in lots of areas, starting from data warehousing, data mesh, data fabric. So I started my journey 15 years ago with the concept of how we can make sense of the data which we are collecting. And with that journey, I'm also passionate about implementing ethics in AI. I'm from past 4 years now, I'm trying to figure out the answer to this question, that how we can build ethics into an AI which we have right now. And then, because I'm coming from a healthcare background, it is very important for us to understand that all the AI which we are building is building with the ethical understanding and for the future. Before I delve deep into the slides, I would like you to meet someone with a small video which I'll play now, and then after the video we'll start the presentation. Let's go and see what this person has to say.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on AI in healthcare. Before we begin, a small disclaimer: I am not Adarsh. He's the real human version, made of bone, flesh, and occasionally coffee. I am his digital avatar, an immortal clone powered by algorithms, animations, and probably. My dialogues are generated by AI, my gestures choreographed by AI. So if I accidentally start dancing, you'll know whom to blame. Now, why are we talking about AI in healthcare? Because medicine today is drowning in data: patient records, scans, genetic codes, trial results. No human brain can process all of it at once. But AI, that's its superpower. From spotting early signs of cancer in an MRI to predicting a patient treatments to your DNA, AI is becoming the ultimate co-pilot for doctors. Of course, every superhero has a catch. AI comes with challenges: biased data, privacy risks, explainability, and trust. These are not small matters, and Adarsh will share how ethics and responsibility must be woven into every AI system we deploy in healthcare. So, think of this session as a journey. From the early days of rule-based breakthroughs, from radiology labs to robotic surgeries, and from hospitals in big cities to remote clinics across the world. And don't worry, we'll keep it light, insightful, and yes, with a sprinkle of humor. Because healthcare is serious, but learning doesn't always have to be boring. With that, I'll hand you over to Adarsh, the original model, to take you deeper into the fascinating world of AI in healthcare. See you again soon.
Thank you. And this is Adarsh 2.2. This is the version which we created 3 years ago when ChatGPT and Gemini and Nano Banana doesn't exist. So we recorded. I recorded myself with the help of the team from 5 different angles with the 5 cameras, and that is how this 2.2 came into being. And I thought that it's a good idea to let him introduce to what we're going to talk about today. And with this, let's start talking about what is AI, and then I'll not go into a technical jargons or that bookish definition of what AI. At a very high level, and for me, in a very simple words, AI refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machine. That is what artificial intelligence is. What we are trying to do is to create an intelligence which runs on, instead of an organic material like carbon, it can run on silicon. That is exactly what we're trying to do when we're talking about AI. And then its importance, especially in the sector of healthcare, it is very evident that from the very start, even when all the AI solutions doesn't exist in the system, healthcare was one of the industry which created massive amount of data, which generated massive amount of data right from the labs and the hospitals, and what is happening around the world, the academic research which is happening in this area. And with AI coming into picture, now we have a very strong tool which process this massive healthcare data and then enabling predictive insight and automation and personalized medicine. That is something which 10 years ago was a futuristic idea, but now it's very, very achievable. And then why it matters in healthcare, why we need to have artificial intelligence in healthcare industry, is to make sure two things which is very important. One is enhanced decision making for healthcare professionals. That is something which we really always wanted to do, because uh, uh, we wanted to reduce human errors into whatever decision a doctor is making, and that is when the machine and human working hand in hand becomes very important for us. And then optimizing rising costs and demand for precision care, that is something which again is very important, where uh, we cannot control the cost of healthcare. And then this is something which is applicable to all across the globe, even if you're in Morocco or in India or in US, and any European country. The cost for care, for healthcare, is ever increasing, and that is where AI is helping us to optimize it. And that is all the more important that we need AI, especially for continents like Africa and Asia, because we have a growing burden of chronic disease which is coming. And one more thing for which AI plays a very important role for us is to create a one golden record for a patient. That means right now, what happens when you go out in a hospital, you get your test done in one lab, and then you get your recommendation from the doctor from one hospital, and then there's no connection. The doctor doesn't know what happened with the lab unless you share the report. And then this heterogeneity and the silo of the data created lots of issues with the better care for the patient, and that is where AI also comes into picture. With that, I will quickly talk about, and then whenever I talk about AI, and then if I say AI, that means AI in healthcare, because that is from the lens I'm coming from, and that is why it may not align with the evolution of, let's say, for example, for evolution of AI in healthcare, it might not align with the evolution of AI in financial sector or the aviation sector. All of them, all these industries have different milestones. And then for evolution of AI in healthcare, there are four major milestones which we see. One starting very early, where we had rule-based system, rule-based expert system, where there are formulas which are proven academically, and then punch in the formula and give the big data, and then system crunch that big data and apply to that equation, and then you get something out of it, some numbers, some rating and risk scores. But that was very limited to the predefined scenarios, where we knew what needs to be done with the data and the output which which is coming. And it ran for a very long time, even when nobody was talking about AI solutions in the machine learning system. Healthcare was using data because we wanted to crunch big data into the rule-based system. After that, few decades earlier, we started using modern machine learning, and that is when we started utilizing large data sets, which we already have. As I already mentioned, we have massive amount of data in healthcare. Sorry. Uh, we started utilizing that large data set to recognizing pattern and creating outcome. We started teaching these models to see what we as a human cannot see. And with the data, with the training and the feedback loop, machine learning models, they continue to improve with the diagnosis and treatment recommendations. And then these modern learning machines become the recommendation engines, where if a doctor wants to recheck uh, the diagnosis or prognosis, they can do it with these machines. But we moved ahead, and then with the advent of deep learning system, now they gave us a different kind of power. Now we are not only processing and analyzing the data, but also the text data or the standard structured data, but we also started processing the medical data, which is imaging and genomic data. What it gives us is it helped us build a correlation between the structured data and the image-based data and the image processing. These systems started getting smarter with that. And this actually helped us in two major areas. One is oncology, which we call as cancer detection area, and the genomics. A few months ago, we started. I read an article where we actually successfully edited a gene of a 13-year-old boy and save his life. And that has happened because we were able to process the genomic data, and then we have a massive computing power available to us, and then AI solution which can actually look at the genomic data and find out the abnormality into it. That is a huge achievement. And then yes, we had deep learning model till now. We are moving, but the newest, the latest technology which we are using when it comes to computing world and AI and machine learning, it is where we are now integrating multiple AI solutions, multiple models, multiple rule-based engines to create one complex decision-making system. And this system now is not a suggestion-based model where doctor is taking a suggestion, but it starts working as in a critical decision-making processes. For example, if there's a patient coming in and then doctor is deciding that, okay, this is a cancer patient and I now have to decide whether I should give this patient a chemotherapy, or this patient should undergo surgery. Now, this is not only a human decision anymore. It is based on human and machine interaction, and there's a parallel understanding, parallel context switching which happens, and then it helps doctor to reach to a best decision for the patient. On top of it, with the tsunami of generative AI, it actually further improved the system for us, because now people don't have to read through 3 pages of medical recommendation and then don't understand a word. With the generative AI, now it can be summarized into something which is very understandable to common people, and it is again not missing any point. And these are the systems which we are right now working at. This complex decision making system also opens up the dimensions, like where we are talking about building a digital twin of the patients, how to effectively do gene mapping and gene editing. And then there are lots of breakthroughs which are happening. AlphaFold is one from Google, and then Watson is the initial example of what wonders AI can do in healthcare field. And if we get a time, I will probably share a few of the use cases I have, what is happening in the real world when it comes to AI right now. But let's go and talk about what are the things, what are the major applications which AI can be, we are using AI healthcare sector. And then, as I mentioned, with the complex systems and the deep neural network systems, it is now possible to look at the images, crunch the images and the videos, and then correlate it, create a context-based understanding of the actual health and the actual condition of the patients. That is one of the most important aspect of AI right now in healthcare, where we AI systems which we are using in radiology and MRI and CT scan analysis, and these are actually significantly improving the accuracy of the diseases, identification of the diseases. uh, Predictive diagnostics using AI, that is again very important. Lots of us, almost all of us, we have smartphones, and then most of us now have a smart watch. Uh, the data which we are collecting through the tracking devices which are built into these smart watches and smart wearables, they start predicting if you can have a risk of a heart disease, or there's a problem where there's something which happened with you, and then due to which it can lead to a problem. And then we are looking at early detection of cancer and other diseases through this pattern recognition, where we the these intelligence systems, they actually are catching those symptoms which were not visible to human eye, or not explainable by a patient to a doctor. And this is something where we are, the industry is moving very fast. These are the two things where things are moving in a predictive system, where we are trying to find out the disease even before it happens, so that we can take a corrective action. But there is also use of AI into predictive analytics of the patient care, where we can now predict with the AI system that what in at which stage the patient should be admitted in ICU, or it can be bring out from the ICU what are the risk factors which makes this patient eligible for ICU care, or normal care, or given his history, his or her history and background in healthcare, what are the things that needs to be taken care of? And these are the things, this risk prediction and stratification for conditions. This is now actually coming to picture, where if there's a patient which is just admitted into emergency system, and if the system have the health record, the previous health record, the AIs are now recommending what kind of settings the patient should get when it comes to a patient care. And not too distant future, as I mentioned, personalized medicine and digital twin. That is something which is very promising. I'm very optimistic about both the things, because right now what happens is when you go to a doctor, doctor prescribes you a medicine based on your condition, your diagnosis and prognosis, but it's all circumstantial, where doctor might look at your history, might look at the kind of diseases you had in the past, but a doctor cannot fully comprehend all kind of health data which you carries with your genomics data, with your ancestral health data. Now with the AI systems, these advanced systems, it is possible to create a tailoring treatment for individual patient based on these genetic data and medical data. And another very very exciting thing is digital twin, where we are in terms of let me take an example. If you have to let's say undergo a bypass surgery, which is a very risky surgery, but if with enough data collected about your health, we can create a digital twin, and then we can perform that surgery in a virtual world, uh, in a virtual setting, on that digital twin, and see how the digital twin reacts. And then based on that, doctor takes a decision that whether we have to go to a surgery on the actual physical body or not. And that is, this predictive system is something which can change the whole paradigm of how the patients are getting treated. These are a few applications which we use within the industry, and then probably it's not go outside. One is AI in drug discovery, where generally it used to take 15 years to 20 years of time span to discover one molecule which can one compound which can be used as a drug. But with a inclusion of AI and introduction of AI into drug discovery, now it is reduced to 2 to 3 years. And not only that, it is AI is also helping us, this industry, to reduce the time which is taken for clinical trials and drug approvals, because now you don't have to go through a manual lengthy process. There is a system which understands the paradigm, which helps you navigate the whole clinical trial and the drug approval. So what this means for us is that the for example, Alzheimer, right? Alzheimer is a disease which get caught very early, very late in patient's life, but still don't have any effective uh, drug to cure Alzheimer. Now with the, and then if I bring these advanced AI solutions into picture, there are lots of initiatives which and then lots of AI solutions which already running, which can detect Alzheimer's very early. And we are also, the industry is also using AI solution to find the molecule which can help in curing Alzheimer's. And that because the timelines are drastically reduced with the computing power which we have and the intelligent system we have, we are looking at getting a potent solution or a potent drug which can cure Alzheimer's. That is one of the example where we can use AI into from multi-dimension. But drug discovery is very important, and it is changing the whole pharmaceutical industry. Then few of the examples where not a lot is happening, but yes, there are lots of innovation which is happening, but not working in real time, which is AI powered robotic surgery. I personally am very interested, always interested in robotics in surgery because of one important reason. Right now, just take an example that somebody has to operate on your liver. Now the doctor may have to make an incision so that his or her hand can go inside and then do something with the liver. With the AI powered robotics in surgery, now we don't have to create an incise of human hand. These machines can be fitted with a very small incision instrument, and then they can create a very small and then cut and then go inside and do what doctors can do still, and then doctors controlling the whole thing all the time. But look at how drastically it will reduce the time of recovery. And there are Da Vinci surgical systems which aiding minimal invasive surgeries as of now, and then it's experimental, but it is something which I am actually very excited to look at, that can we really achieve this. And this is something where not a lot, but yes, the research is still ongoing. Then healthcare operation, as I mentioned earlier, healthcare operation is important. This is one area where I also work very actively. That what can we do within AI systems to optimize the operation of the hospitals and the labs? What can we do to make sure that we are using AI to reduce this administrative burdens on the healthcare professional, so that they can focus on what matters rather than working on administrative and logistical things. So how can we take those logistical and manual effort from the healthcare professional and give it to the machine so that we can optimize both? That is something uh, which can drastically reduce the cost of the healthcare. And because I'm coming from India, and then I know that all of you are from Morocco, for people like us, it is very important that we reduce the the amount which right now currently we need in the healthcare to have a sustainable system of healthcare. And that is what I always believed in, and that is where I worked in. I really can see there are lots of things which is happening, which is optimizing not only hospitals but the labs which we have, the test which has been taken, and then how we are going to optimize the lab. That is again where AI in healthcare are playing very important role. Now, yes, these are very great opportunities. There are lots of areas that AI is changing in healthcare, but with that, we have our own challenges as well. And one of the most important challenge which we are struggling with right now, the whole health is struggling with, is data privacy. And data privacy is very important for healthcare because the data which is being collected uh, in this segment, in this industry, it is very personal to people. Yeah. And then that is why everyone and every patient in the world is very concerned about what kind of medical data or health data you are collecting from me. We get lots of these questions because everybody wants to know that are you collecting something which you should not and I don't want to give. And how are we ensuring the compliance and the regulation? Like we have HIPAA in US and GDPR in Europe. They have a massive penalty if there's a breach in the data privacy. So keeping that in mind, and then making sure that we are getting rich enough data to train our AI solutions to make a difference. That is something which is one of the major challenges which we see here in healthcare. Apart from that, the second most and very close to my heart is bias in the AI model. That is something which is very real, very real. Um, I kept talking about how we are going to build AI ethics into AI, and AI bias in AI models is the first thing that comes because uh, I was giving example of Watson X in the early slides where it was one of the early example of how AI is changing lives and then saving lives. But that model was, you know, not exactly shelved, but went out of the commercial purpose because of the data and the bias it was showing. That is something which we have to be very cognizant of, that it's okay not to have an AI system, but it's not okay to have a biased AI system because it can bring more disaster and chaos than actually solving some problem. And at the end, another challenge which we see when it comes to AI in healthcare is a trust of the people. So this is a question which I got from a lot of people, that if a doctor says that this is my diagnosis that you should undergo a surgery, and then the doctor says that but an AI system which I am using is recommending chemotherapy, then what are the chances that the patient will go for surgery or a chemotherapy? And then 90% of the time, 95% of the time, patients rely on the judgment which is taken by the doctor. It is very difficult and then very sensitive to build trust uh, of the machines onto the patients, and that is why it is important for us to build that trust, to bring that explainability of AI models, so that we as a patient, we as common people start trusting on these machines. That is something which is very important. It's not very easy to do because when it's come to explainability, there are lots of trade-offs because if it's a complex neural network algorithm and then you are making it explainable, we have to trade off with the accuracy. So, and then again, uh, nobody asked the question if an AI system is predicting a flu or a common disease. But everybody start asking questions when this different AI system is started predicting rare diseases, and that is where the difference is. We have to be very uh, understanding in terms of what where it needs trust and what are the explainability we have to build in the model. And then the ultimate idea is to make create a framework which where a machine can be trusted by patients. These are there are lots of challenges, but I thought that these three will actually are the most important, and that is why uh, I shared them. I will finish my presentation with this quote, and I see that we still have time. So if we can go ahead, I will probably share a few of the use cases which I have, and then we can talk about those use cases. So the quote is it's very important. Lots of people ask this question that will machines replace humans? Uh, at least for next 30 to 40 years, 50 years maybe. But and then the way we are now started thinking into not not machines replacing humans, but augmenting and then co-piloting with each other, it is something which I don't see happening. So the potential for AI in healthcare is extraordinary, but not because it will replace humans, but it because it will augment their capability to provide better care. It will act as a counterpart which will help these doctors to take a better decision, you know, prescribe better medicines, and then bring out those new technologies into this industry, which can change human lives. And that is where I would like to end my presentation. But let me see if we have time, and then we can go ahead with the use cases.
I do believe we have time for use cases.
Okay. Then give me a time. I'll pull that up, and then we'll go ahead with the use cases. Okay. Let's talk about a few of the use cases which I kept referring to in my presentation. And the first one, this was groundbreaking because that was first attempt to commercialize a solution in a health industry. And then this is IBM Watson for oncology. It was developed in 2019 for the lung cancer treatment, and the testing, the training data came from India. There's a chain of hospital called Manipal Hospital in India. And then in 2016, Manipal Hospital started helping and then coordinating with IBM to provide the data on which this IBM Watson can be trained on. And it evaluated around thousands of 1,000 cancer cases using, and then uh, the team. So there's a multidisciplinary oncology team which actually works with the cancer patient. They actually started using it, bringing Watson recommendation into their own diagnosis and prognosis. Yes, there was consistency in the treatment, but this is one product which failed miserably when it was commercialized to other countries. And this was first example where we realized that training a AI system is not enough. Training it, training it on a diverse data set and the geography where we want to bring that solution is actually very important. But IBM Watson in oncology sets an example that yes, something like this can be done, and it can help reduce cognitive load from the oncologist and the cancer specialist for the personalized cancer care. Next, this is a very important, very interesting experimental project which was done by Google in 2023, and I was part of it in a different capacity when it was being done. This is called automated retinal disease assessment, where Google in 2023 started setting up lots of labs and lots of not it's a diagnostic lab for ophthalmology, where they started taking high resolution pictures of the diabetic patients to predict if they have a risk of diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy, in a very simple word, is when somebody is suffering from type 2 diabetes, gets a risk of losing their eyesight. And they trained Google trained this AI model on the data which was collected, and it was done in the from the south side of India, southern India. The data was collected from southern India, and it supported around 200,000 screening, more than 200,000 actually, and not only in India but in European Union, where there's a shortage of eye specialists. It got deployed into the places. This AI model got deployed into the places where you don't find eye specialists very easily. And all you have to do is to take a picture of a retina with a machine which was provided to these eye specialists, and this AI system directly gives a recommendation that what is the risk, and then what are the risks for this diabetic type 2 diabetic patient to have diabetic retinopathy. It actually Google took it further, where they started looking at that, okay, what more we can do with the same AI model and with the same image. And then there was a paper released where it was claimed that with the same image, retina image, with the same AI model, now they can also predict the heart diseases. And it was at that time very exciting, but later we realized no, it's not going to work. It's not possible. So it was again restricted to the area where it was working, but still working. It is continuously evolving as of now, because you can see that it started very early in 2023, 2 years ago. But it is helping the eye specialist in the early diagnosis, and for diabetic patient to reduce blindness risk. And it is helping the eye specialist to reduce the workload as well, because now same eye specialist who can look at 10 patients in a given amount of time, now just have to take a high definition picture of a retina with a machine, and then gets a risk score, and based on that take a decision that whether it needs a deeper thorough check of the patient. And this is something which is one of the great example of image processing, and then creating a complex system where not one but multiple AIs are working together to create a ecosystem where we can predict something like diabetic retinopathy, which was earlier very hard to predict. This case study is around drug discovery, which we were talking about, AlphaFold 3, and then recently DeepMind introduced a newer version. I don't remember if it is AlphaFold 4 or something else. But what it does, this system can predict protein structures, accelerating drug discovery and biology research. What it does, uh, it creates a protein structure, try to test it out, try to test the compound whether it is working or not in a biological setting, and then discard it if it is not, and then move to the next protein structure. It is actually creating lots of waves of excitement in the pharmaceutical industry, because it is revolutionizing the biomedicine, because it is now providing insights into diseases and treatment through precise protein models. What it means is now earlier for scientists and doctors. It was a 15 years long, 20 years long process where they keep trying some protein models and understanding what will work and what will not work. But now it is reducing that number of hit and trials, and then helping those scientists and doctors to focus on what matters and where the protein molecules look promising. Till now, over 200 million protein structures already predicted by AlphaFold 3, and then AlphaFold, the new version is far more advanced than AlphaFold 3. But this is something which is changing the way the molecules are discovered in pharmaceutical industry. This is this is something which this case study is very different from other three, where when we had COVID, the pandemic, lots of countries and lots of government organizations and lots of hospitals, large hospitals, all they all created their own AI solution, which was using to identify drug candidates and then develop vaccines for COVID-19. It doesn't turn out very good. Means 90% of them, 95% of them failed miserably to find the vaccine, but it actually demonstrated the power of AI in responding rapidly to this health crisis. Uh, what it showed us is like the experiment itself was not very successful, but it showed us that if worked out properly and in a planning, when if we design a system which specifically for this kind of crisis, that then it can be a game changer for us, where these AI solutions work rapidly to manage these kind of COVID-19 type of global health crisis. And that is why this case study was very important. There's a paper, and then if, probably I'm not sure if how I'm going to share my slide, but there are papers, scientific papers, which gives you a deeper detail into why it was very important. And then radiology. This is pure image processing, where it actually the last point which I talked about when I was talking about opportunities in optimizing the workload, the optimization of hospitals and labs. This is where the AI becomes assistant for a doctor. Where right now the problem is the most understaffed you know, entity in healthcare is radiologist. And radiologists have to review image and they cannot miss anything. And there are lots of issues with the and during COVID, I remember I worked with a on a pro bono use case in assessing the trustworthiness of an AI system, where an AI system was built by a hospital in Italy, and then that AI system takes in the chest X-ray, and it was predicting the level of pneumonia infection in COVID-19 patients, and it was using and it was giving the risk score, and based on which the radiologists were able to take the right decision who should go into ICU and who can stay in general ward, because that university hospital had only two radiologists and then thousands of patients. And that is how that is when AI and radiology become very prominent, that it can actually, if we can embed these kind of AI solutions into a clinical workflows, AI can prioritize urgent cases and streamline process, where it significantly reduce the physician burnout. There's a recent paper where 44% of the radiologists report burnout, because I mentioned this is the most understaffed sector of healthcare. But now AI taking a counter part as working as a co-pilot and handling these routine tasks, it actually is improving the job satisfaction and taking the workload out of radiologists and sharing the load with it. It is not only helping into this workload management, it also helps in the diagnosis of the remote area, where now there are lots of projects which is happening where you just take a MRI scan or a CT scan, you scan it and you send it, and then there's an AI module which takes in the data, crunch it, and then informs the doctor, which is not even sitting in the same physical location somewhere else, about the status and the risk, and based on that, a physician can take quick action without waiting for the radiologist to get time and then look at the scan of the or the CT scan coming out from a very remote area. And this is something which is very promising, because we are embedding these kind of AI solutions into clinical workflows, and it is actually helping us to reduce the workflow, and then not only reducing the workflow but also increasing the satisfaction of the patient and the radiologist. Sorry. And I think that is it from my side. Uh, I covered all the use cases which I had in mind, but yes, now it's time for question and answer, and we can take some.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adarsh. Now I'll ask the audience, we have now reached the time for questions and answers. And if there are any questions that you'd like to ask, you can raise your hand and then you'll be allowed to speak directly. Else, you can send the questions in the message section. Mr. Adarsh, there are already some questions that are available if you're ready to
Thanks
answer.
to you. Yeah, I can. So the first question is, what are the most impactful application of AI in healthcare today? I will say, I will answer this very pragmatically. What exactly is changing? What kind of AI solutions is changing the AI in healthcare? One is the optimization of the labs, of the hospitals. That is something which is significantly improving and then reducing the cost, the optimization of the cost which we pay as a patient for a healthcare as a patient. And the second is drug discovery. That is, these are the two places which I see as the most impactful, because it is directly impacting patient lives and making it better. Can you give examples of successful AI implementation in hospital labs? I think I mentioned a few of them in the use case. One of them, which I personally saw the whole thing happening, is the ARDA, which is advanced retinal disease, and then one which I worked with called it was it has a long name, but it used to look at a chest X-ray and then predict the level of pneumonia infection. That is something which has the successful implementation. Apart from that, lots of you can see hundreds of solutions which are now coming out based on generative AI, which are actually making lots of difference. One example which I can take and then give you is if there's a cancer patient, the doctors sit together and discuss the case of what needs to be done. Now, and I know this is happening for sure in the industry, that now in that, and then we call it Navified tumor board, where doctors sits and then talk about the tumor of patient. Now, there is an AI system which also have a seat on the table, which also talks about the same patient and the same tumor, because it has information and data and the suggestion to make for the patient. So these are few successful AI implementations, but there are a lot. How do you make AI algorithm explainable enough for doctors to trust them? It's a very tricky question. So as I mentioned, it's easy to make a system explainable, but there are trade-offs. But there are lots of efforts which now have been taken to not make it explainable, but make it interpretable. So I was talking to a doctor who works in one of the largest lab chains in US, and then we were talking about a system which he's using, where this AI system is still a black box, but it goes into a discussion mode when it comes to giving an output rather than direct giving an output for something. For example, if there's a patient and then doctor wants to understand whether what should be the drugs should be prescribed to this patient, rather than giving a straight answer that these are the medicines which needs to be prescribed, it goes into a reasoning discussion with doctor and then based on that gives an output. So this is one way, but there are lots of other way where we are, and then I'm also personally trying to solve this problem from the last 5 years, but not a concrete answer yet. But yes, I'm very hopeful that we will reach there. What are the hot topic in research? If you are planning to do a research in this area where you are looking at AI and healthcare intersection, I will suggest to look at multiomics data, genomics data. That is something which has lots of research already done, but there are lots of opportunities into applied medical research when it comes to AI and the data which is coming from genes or DNA. I think, what are the emerging trends of medical AI do you find most promising? I think I already answered this question: drug discovery and optimization of the cost, and these are the two things which I see. How do you train teams to collaborate effectively with AI solutions? Oh, it's very interesting. We are doing it, and then lots of team actually understand the value, but the real game changer comes in the understanding where doctors and the team of doctors and any healthcare professional understand that this system is not replacing us. This system is helping us to do our job better. And that is where we see lots of great collaboration which is happening with the machines and AI solutions and the doctors. When they start looking at the good, the combination of human and machine can do, that is when the collaboration moves very quick. But there's a caveat to this. The caveat is that we have to make sure that this AI is not making any error, or again going back to the same point, that it is not unethical in any way, because it takes 20 years to build a reputation, but 2 minutes to completely spoil it. And that is why it is very important for us to create that system where it is straight away trusting, rather than we have to take some effort to make it trustable. I believe the question of trusting AI in health is mainly because of liability. In case of misdiagnosis assisted by AI, does the liability fall on the doctor, the AI developer, or the health institution? Oh, this is the question. This is a evergreen question. I am at least getting it from last 7 years. Yes, it is. What you're saying is partially correct, but the factor which affects this liability is how you are using this AI system. Are you using it as a tool which is sharing your workload? Are you using it to take an advice? Are you using it to get a better result so that you can compare? Or you are using it to take a decision? Now, all these different scenarios comes with a different set of liabilities and different variations of liability. And then the most important of them is to take decision. And that is when it is very important, not only in healthcare, but in any system where trust is required, aviation, finance, that there's always a human in the loop, so that the responsibility, not the liability, this responsibility of the final decision which is being taken always lies with humans and not with machines. I hope I'm able to answer all the questions. And if any other further question, I'm happy to answer. Oh, we only have 2 minutes, but yes, we can take.
No, you've satisfactorily answered all the questions. I do not know. Are there any other questions in the last few minutes? Like you've seen, we still have a few minutes. Okay. That said, I would really love to thank you, Mr. Adarsh, for such a wonderful and insightful presentation that you've given us. We've learned a lot. I personally have learned a lot. I hope we can find another occasion to meet once more. And for that, I'll ask the community to, give a thumbs up when we run the poll. With that, thank you very much for such a wonderful presentation. It was insightful. It was well done. And if any other questions come up, we can connect you with the people that would ask the questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Adarsh.
Thank you.